Ranking member yields. I will continuing the questioning and recognize myself for 5 minutes. As we've held hearings this Congress to examine how policy can help spur economic growth while balancing environmental protection needs, it's become incredibly clear that federal investment works best when used to leverage local resources and development interests. Development of brownfields is a prime example of this dynamic. These sites would be ripe for redevelopment if not for the additional challenges represented by the potential presence of hazardous substances. This makes the reuse of these brownfields more difficult and resource intensive, an additional burden to development that is especially difficult for under-resourced areas like those that I represent. When a community is interested in turning a brownfield site from an abandoned or underutilized property into a viable economic engine, the EPA's Brownfields program can help lessen that burden and provide the initial push needed for private investment to take interest. Mr. Pouncey, you discussed the importance of private-public partnership in your written testimony. How do you usually come about, and how could the EPA's Brownfields program better support these public-private partnerships?
Most of these public-private partnerships are with a local development authority and a developer, some developer who's looking to come in and bring business or industry into that area. And that may be as a result of the Economic Development Authority approaching them for that, to bring this investment in. And the Economic Development Authority may have located a site or a group of sites that is then pitched to the developer, and the developers agreed to move forward with those. Those sites may be impacted, often they are, and the approach in that instance would be, and it can either be, were there to be some amendments, it could either be a joint application by the private developer and the public entity to get this money so that it can be used for cleanup, to allow that project to go forward, or in some instances it can be a grant that is made to the public entity, the development authority. Currently, that would be the structure, and then we reach an agreement regarding who then implements the cleanup.
Mr. Pouncey, how could the focus in the Brownfield Inventory and Permitting Efficiency Act on identifying brownfield sites be ideal for reuse for a nationally significant infrastructure? How could that help with encouraging the private sector that you just mentioned to have that investment in former industrial areas in the large brownfield sites that you mentioned in your testimony?
Right, all right. I could point to two things there which are absolutely critical. One is some database, and I know the EPA and I've worked on some organizations to help create that, a database that identifies these impacted sites and shows certain critical components such as proximity to utilities, such as proximity to transportation corridors, other things like that, which the local community could then use to present this. So I think that's one way to accomplish that, is this database or list. And then I think, too, in terms of encouraging that type of development, that type of cooperation, I think there is some measure of support from grants that might assist with that as well.
Thank you. Mr. Wells, in your written testimony, you stated that any new program should avoid duplicative requirements and a diversion of funds from traditional brownfield grants. Do you think that loan and loan guarantees that we are discussing today would be helpful when addressing any gaps in needs that are existing? Revolving loan programs is a top-of-mind subject that could be part of that. Do you think that that could have an effective use?
I think that revolving loan fund programs have been proven to be successful, and in other settings, I think it can work here. I think the concern from the state regulator standpoint is the existing program functions. It functions well. It's been successful, and the concern would be that any enhancement to the program that would divert funds from the core program could be problematic, or it could reduce the effectiveness of the core program. Those enhancements there's some good ideas But if they can be implemented in such a way as to not divert funds away from the core program, I think that would be the best of all best of both worlds. I think taking some sort of all of the above approach would make sense.
Communities are highly motivated to get these brownfield sites back up and running. I think we can all recognize that today. They benefit local economies and beyond that. I look forward to working with my colleagues on this committee to bolster efforts from both sides of the aisle through targeted and effective federal assistance. Thank you, and I yield back. I now recognize the ranking member of the entire committee, Mr. Pallone, for his 5 minutes of questioning.